Welcome to Pop Cult, where we talk reality TV, celebrity chaos, and pop culture throwbacks. Hi everybody, welcome back to Pop Cult. I'm Avery.
And I'm Julia.
And we are your hosts. We post 2 episodes every week. On Tuesdays, we do our Reality Digest episodes where we talk about all of the reality shows that we are currently watching. It is usually abundant. I think I didn't realize how many shows I genuinely watch until we started doing this show. And then on Thursdays, we do our Fame Files episodes, which are basically throwback stories of pop culture events, scandals, lawsuits, but they also could be positive things. They could be neutral. You never know. You never know what we're going to pop up with. Recently, I had an idea that we might start throwing in like some deep dives on celebrities' lives, because I saw a TikTok of Tyra Banks earlier this week just acting very erratic. And I thought she would be an interesting person to do a deep dive on.
For sure.
Maybe that'll be our first one. But I thought that could be something fun to add in. But today we are doing a Fame Files episode, and it is on Ellen and her toxic workplace allegations. I just remember when this first came out, and like everyone was really sad. It was kind of like when Tiger Woods cheated on his wife.
I would come home every day from school, and my mom and I would watch Ellen, and I was allowed to watch Ellen. It was the only thing I was allowed to do before I had to go do my homework.
Oh, that's cute.
And I loved watching Ellen, so I didn't have to do my homework. But it was also just like fun to watch with my mom. So
yeah, shout out your mom.
Shout out.
My mom used to watch it every day too, but I feel like I wouldn't get home because I remember this when you were in high school. You were on like the schedule where you would literally get home before like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
But when I was in high school, I didn't get out of school until 4. So
I had like a 2:15 p.m. release time, like throughout all of my like high school, middle school, elementary school career.
Yeah, that's true because you moved so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the time I got to high school, it was late, but I think that Ellen came on at like 4, from 4 to 5.
It was, I don't know, I always thought it was 3. It
could be maybe 4. It is.
Well, because like I would take the bus, so like I don't really know what time I would end up getting home. I didn't have a watch or anything like that.
You were a bus girly. Yeah, me too. That's like one thing that I don't have in here, but we are gonna kick it off with Ellen's early career. But before we do that, do you like know anything about what I'm about to get into?
Oh my god, yeah. Like this was devastating for me to learn about.
Okay.
And it all started because of Dakota.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson. Yes, we're gonna talk about that. Prepare to be devastated again. Lock in.
I know.
All right, we're gonna jump in. Well, Ellen DeGeneres started her career all the way back in the 1980s, if you can believe it. Seems like it was just eons ago. As a stand-up comedian, and eventually she ended up on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson as a comedian. I don't know who Johnny Carson is. He's probably dead, if I had to guess by now.
I have no idea.
Sorry to this man if he's not, but
I'm sorry.
I will say off the bat, I didn't realize that she like had started her career so long ago. I kind of thought she was just sort of like this
she was also
random rising star.
She was the first person to like who's like she was playing a character that was gay, I think, on like live television.
Yeah, so from the late 1980s, so 1989 to 1990, she was on her first TV show, like as a series regular. It was called Open House. And then in 1994, she had a lead role on a show called These Friends of Mine, which was later renamed to Ellen, which ended up becoming her show, obviously. And it ran from 1994 to 1998. In 1997, Ellen, both as herself and as her character on the show, came out as gay. And she, as herself, revealed this by being on the cover of Time magazine, but her character, Ellen, on the show came out in one of the season's episodes. This episode in particular featured many celebrities like Oprah, Billy Bob Thornton, Demi Moore. I think it's Demi.
I think it is actually Demi.
Yeah. Demi Moore. And this episode actually won 2 Emmys after it aired. When she came out as gay, when she was on the cover of Time, the headline was literally, "Yep, I'm gay."
Slay.
which I thought was funny. But yes, unfortunately, just because of the time period, her coming out was not widely accepted, and pretty instantly the ratings started to decline in the next season, which ultimately led to the show ending in 1998. And she has said before that this is really the first time that she was kicked out of show business. So yeah, you're right. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing she was probably the first, but I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah,
But
that's what I thought,
definitely
but
one of the
I mean,
few.
I have no idea.
Definitely one of the few. From 2001 to 2002, where we've now entered the new millennium, she tried to revive her sitcom career, and so she started a show called The Ellen Show. But it was not a hit and ended after just 13 episodes, and I think it even maybe had like 5 episodes left to air, and it was doing so poorly that they didn't even like release the last 5, which is kind of crazy to think about.
She was the first lead actor in a primetime network TV show to come out as gay.
Okay, T. After her show, The Ellen Show, ended in 2003, that's when she voiced Dory in Finding Nemo. And in that same year, she also dropped a comedy special. And then this was a big year for her because
Yeah, it was.
later that year, on September 8th of 2003, the very first episode of the Ellen DeGeneres Show aired. I did not realize that this show started in 2003.
I knew it started early. I didn't know it started the same year she did Finding Nemo. I had assumed,
that just seems crazy.
I don't know. I think I had assumed that the show had started before she did Finding Dory, but that's because like to me, like that's what she was famous for was the Ellen DeGeneres Show, and like I didn't know anything prior because I was not born too far off from 2003, just a little bit before.
No, that's very true. I mean, me neither, really. Yeah, I think like I just was confused because the earliest memories that I feel like I have of the Ellen Show are definitely in high school, which I have a really bad memory when it comes to like
Mine are more
growing
like
up. I don't
mine's
know
like
why.
more like middle school. I feel like I do too. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't remember. I like remember watching the Ellen Show after school, but I don't remember going to school. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. I mean, who does at this point?
who knows?
But yeah, I was just shocked by that. I was like, wow. And now it makes me wonder, was my mom watching it that entire time and I just don't remember? She was watching it when I was literally like in
my mom
kindergarten.
watched Oprah every day, but then Oprah ended, so she's watching Ellen every day.
And Oprah,
and
I
Rachel
think, ended
Ray.
when we were in like maybe middle school.
Yeah, there was definitely overlap, but my mom was watching both. That's for sure. But like because cable TV used to be so big, like I don't know, like TV shows coming on every day, I guess is maybe what I'm coming at, because like that like doesn't happen anymore. Like people watch everything all at once or once a week.
Yes, exactly. Like, yeah, you're so right. Or in batches of episodes, like
yeah,
and
Netflix so like the concept of watching a new show
batches
every single day that you can't watch at another time. Well, you can, but like not if you like want to fall behind. So like you're like have to be there at 3 every day.
And sometimes I'm like, anymore. I feel like I used to think to myself, oh, like I'm an adult now. I like when I'm an adult, I need to pick like a talk show to watch. And I like that was like a thing that I just thought all adults did. And now I'm like, I don't even have cable TV. Like I couldn't watch a talk show even if I wanted to, you know?
Some of them you can watch on Peacock the next day.
Okay. Sometimes I do watch the Kelly Clarkson show on like the TikTok clips because I like when she does karaoke.
Yeah, I do that, or I do Jimmy Fallon, SNL, but like SNL is not really a talk show.
Yeah, I don't watch SNL at all.
I only watch it if I like the celeb.
Fair. But this feels like, you know, very nostalgic. Like, oh my god, the daytime talk shows. Obviously, the Ellen DeGeneres Show was very successful. She is actually the record holder for outstanding entertainment talk show in terms of like the Emmys. Like, she's won the most of that particular Emmy award. I don't know if that's the right way to say that.
I think so.
And all in all, the talk show won 64 daytime Emmys during its run.
You know, my mom and I went to the set. Like we would like.
Oh my god, I remember that.
And we sat in like seats 13 and 14, and we would like watch when we would watch the show later. We'd be like, oh, we sat there. And we tried to steal something, but there was like nothing. There was like nothing to steal. Like we tried to like take like a memento, and there was nothing.
Like a thread from the carpet.
Yeah.
Or
also, like surprisingly, like this is not new to anybody, but it was teeny tiny. Like I feel like sets look so big like that, but it was small.
They always do look so big. That was me at Watch What Happens Live. I was like, I could literally sit on Andy Cohen's lap, and like I could do it so quickly that nobody would even be able to be there in time to get
literally.
me. You know,
Like, it was definitely bigger
that I
than
would do
that.
that.
Like, it was a big sound production show, but it just, like, I don't know, it just, like, puts seeing things, like, in perspective, like, from being there, it just feels so small.
100%. But basically, for anyone who doesn't know, Ellen is the host of this talk show, and which was a daytime talk show that that aired sometime around 3 or 4 or 5, we're not sure, that consisted of celebrity interviews, musical performances, and interviews with just like normal people who had interesting stories. Like I remember there was like that Vans guy. Do you remember that? What was his story?
I remember
The guy with the Vans.
I don't know the guy
Alex
with
from
the
Target or
Vans.
something.
Alex from Target. I remember those 2 little girls who were like ballerinas. There was Grayson Chance. He went on there and played piano, and now he's like an artist. Like
Chance the Rapper?
No, not Chance the Rapper. Did he go on? I'm sure he did. I'm talking about somebody else. Justin Bieber was on there a lot. I'm trying to think of other like little. There was a little kid who was like obsessed with like the States or something like that. Like she always brought on like really smart little kids.
Like prodigy kids, sort of.
Yeah.
Like the little girls you're thinking of are Sophia, Grace, and Rosie.
Yes, them.
And now they're like grown up, and I'm pretty sure one of them might actually have a kid of their own, which is crazy.
God.
I know. But yeah, it was just kind of like a mix of things. She always had at least one, if not multiple guests on each episode. Usually Ellen was like a major stop on any sort of press tour that any celebrity is going to be doing for like a new album or a movie or a TV show, etc. She was well known as the kindest celebrity because of her on-air persona, and the mantra for her talk show was even be kind to one another. And this is basically how she would end every episode.
Yeah,
like she would send off the viewer. So how do we go from her being one of the most successful talk shows on air to basically her entire career taking a nosedive in the matter of like 2 years? So as Julia previously stated, beginning of the controversy all kind of started in November of 2019 with guest Dakota Johnson and an on-screen tiff. That's the word I'm going to use because it wasn't like an argument. It was just like a little tiff, like a little back and forth.
If like it didn't get taken farther, it was just like funny.
Yeah, like so it was basically about her birthday party. Ellen had asked Dakota Johnson why she hadn't been invited to her 30th birthday, and Dakota responded, quote, "Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. Ask everybody. Ask Jonathan, your producer." And then someone off camera, I'm assuming Jonathan, then confirmed this, and suddenly online this was like literally the beginning of cancel culture, I feel like, because people then online were accusing her of being disingenuous, calling her a liar. Seems like a bit of an overreaction to me, but like I feel like that's kind of Dakota Johnson's sense of humor. Like she's a little bit dry, she's a little bit sarcastic. You like can't really tell if she's being serious.
Yeah, I just thought she was being funny.
Yeah, I was actually surprised when I was researching this to find out that this is what started the ball rolling.
It's always something.
But alas, it did, because then the internet investigators, or keyboard warriors, if you will,
yes,
then like locked the fuck in to figure out exactly where Ellen was the night of Dakota Johnson's birthday party, which was October 5th, 2019. While there was no evidence showing where she was on that exact night, there was photographic evidence of her on October 6th, the day after, at a Dallas Cowboys football game with former President George W. Bush.
More
like,
random.
How random is that?
What?
Like, so bizarre. I'm like, how do they know each other? Like, is it just because she's been in the industry for so long? Like, is this normal?
She got the medal. What is it? But it wasn't Bush that gave it to her. It was Obama.
Okay.
But she got the some kind of Medal of Honor.
Well, somehow she knows George W. Bush too. But this became a whole nother reason for backlash, because people were like pissed that she was seemingly friendly with someone who isn't supportive of the gay community. After this, everything just seemed to take like a complete nosedive, because suddenly there's then like a bunch of stories circulating on Twitter about Ellen actually being like a very rude person. After this, in April of 2020, we all know the world shut down due to COVID. And because of this, Ellen's show also went on pause, which included, of course, the future of her crew and their livelihood with the show. According to a Variety article from April 16th of 2020. So I would say maybe like a month into COVID, the COVID shutdown. Her crew were allegedly unaware for a month about what was going to happen with their jobs and their pay. And this was inclusive of around over 30 employees.
Well, that's crazy.
So that's a lot of people that don't know if they're going to get paid in a very expensive city, mind you. This is in LA. So, but the real tea was the fact that even after this, Ellen then hired a private tech crew to come to her home and start filming her show remotely while
So
they
not
were
even
unable
her
to go into the
original
studio.
So her original
No.
employees were included in.
Right. So obviously her employees are shocked and devastated, and then they find out that their pay would be reduced by upwards of 60%.
Oh my god. And you know she could pay their full salaries, each of them.
Well, I'm
And
so
still
happy
have
that you
money
said
left
that
over.
because I'm so happy you said that because for the record, she was making more than $50 million a year from her show and supposedly is worth around 330 million.
She can
So
do
there's that. I also did read a few things that said that I think it was Jimmy Kimmel during COVID, he paid his employees out of his own pocket
Literally.
until like
It's
obviously
not hard
they figured
to do.
out. No, it's just and like be kind to one another, Ellen. Be kind to
Literally.
one another. So yeah, that's diabolical. Also, I feel like something that was always pretty typical with the people that Ellen hired on their show was that like they were pretty family oriented. Like I feel like we would see like a crew member's spouse or maybe even their kids or like if they had a newborn baby or something. So it's not like she's hiring these young, 20 somethings that are pretty transient and like early on in their career. Like these are people that are established with families and like homes to pay for and whatnot. But like it gets worse from here because in July of 2020, BuzzFeed News interviewed 10 former crew members. And this was like the first big article, which like me and BuzzFeed, we go way back. So I can't wait to do an episode on them.
Oh,
But
I
like
love
they
BuzzFeed.
really right, I'm such a BuzzFeed girl. Not necessarily anymore, but back when it was like the millennials were running BuzzFeed, that was my shit on YouTube. But like I could name so many people, but I won't. They kind of like broke this story though on Ellen. Like they were really the first news source, if you will, to write something and really like actually cover this. So they interviewed 10 former crew members who chose to remain anonymous. And they sort of run through all of the reasons that these people ended up quitting the Ellen DeGeneres show, some of which were just absolutely despicable. Many were fired after taking leave for something like a medical need or even like bereavement leave. One even said that she quit after suffering through racist comments from other crew members time and time again. And Ellen herself was accused specifically of creating a toxic work environment.
Yikes.
Most of the employees do caveat that the toxicity in the workplace was mainly perpetuated by the executive producers and people in very senior roles. But at the end of the day, it's Ellen's name on the show, and Ellen needed to take responsibility for these people and their actions. Somebody should be supervising them. They shouldn't be just left, on unwatched. And in my experience, when that's the case, usually it's because behavior like this starts at the top. Like it doesn't just happen with one random senior leadership person. Like sometimes that can be the case, but usually it's because of the mentorship that they're receiving. So just something to keep in mind. In terms of some of the allegations that were made, one of her former employees, who was a Black woman, even said that someone told her once, quote, "I'm sorry, I only know the names of the white people who work here."
Oh Lord. That's horrible.
Another former employee says they were fired because they had started a GoFundMe to raise money for a medical need that wasn't covered by their insurance and was instructed to take it down because it could reflect poorly on Ellen that this person is having to go out and like try and raise money for this.
Okay.
I also read a claim that said that there was an employee whose child was having some sort of very serious surgery, and he was denied like time off for his child surgery.
Lovely.
So that's crazy behavior. There were even claims that anyone who worked for or with Ellen, this is so weird, had to chew gum before speaking to her, and if she thought that you smelled, she had to go home. Sorry. If she thought that you smelled, you had to go home and shower because she was very sensitive to smells.
I just don't know
Who
if I
was showing
believe
up
that.
to work smelling bad?
That's crazy.
Once again, like, just to note, the general consensus among the employees was that the toxicity was coming from senior staffers and not so much Ellen herself, but that the reason for that was because those particular crew members would basically just tell Ellen that everything was great, and she just never really looked into whether or not that was actually true. Like, there was no checks and balances happening on the Ellen DeGeneres show, clearly. But a former employee did confirm and said, quote, "That be kind bullshit only happens when the cameras are on. It's all for show. I know they give money to people and help them out, but it's for show." End quote.
Yikes. I hope they actually,
And
like, for real got all the money that they wanted or were given.
I know. And I think that that's an important thing to bring up, is the fact that a huge part of her show, like, genuinely, I feel like every single episode there was some sort of donation being given to somebody less fortunate. Like, I feel like that was a huge motif.
I will say, I think at one point she gave, like, Bill Gates or something $20,000. Like, one of the richest men in the world. And he just kind of, like, smiled.
Like, on the show?
Yes.
Why did she do that?
I don't know. But she did help out a lot of people. And she would give out cars. She did that 12 Days of Christmas. Like,
She would, like, I feel like there were instances where she would, like, even, like, reno people's homes, like, if there had been, like, a natural disaster or something. So, like, she was doing good things, but I also think it's important to note the fact that, like, the show was doing good things. Like, it wasn't actually, like, Ellen herself. She was just kind of, like, the face of all of this.
yeah. And it probably wasn't her idea. She didn't find these people.
Okay, so Julia just sent me a screenshot of an image. You have to post this on the Instagram when this episode comes out. It's basically Ellen holding a check for $20,000 and it's signed to Bill Gates, and he's just, like, waving.
And, like, all of, like, the, like, Google search is, like, Ellen's awkwardest moment. Ellen's stupidest moment. Or, like, ever feel stupid? Just remember that Ellen gave the world's second richest man 0.0002% of his current net worth.
I'm sick. I need $20,000, Ellen. Please.
Literally. I think she gave it to him for some kind of, like, research situation thing he was doing. It was, like, not for him. It was for something under him. But, like,
yeah, it wasn't just, like,
$20,000, like, that is spending money for him. Like, he can just.
That's true.
It's so odd.
So true. I would be so powerful if somebody just gave me that kind of money. That would be the best day of my life. Anyways, that's sad, I know. Nonetheless, the allegations of she herself being kind of an asshole did not stop there, because a former bodyguard who worked for her at the 2014 Oscars said that she is the only person he's ever worked for that didn't take the time to introduce herself and say hi. He said that she was very cold and demeaning, but that her wife was actually very kind, which I think is always a strange dichotomy. Like, I feel like I always hear people say, like, their biggest turnoff, for example, in dating is when somebody's rude to, like, a service member, like a waiter or waitress or a barista or something of the sort. And this is just crazy to me that, like, this is not the only time that we will hear about her wife being super kind and her not. I also just have to point out that this was the Oscars where the famous selfie came from.
Oh, the Oscars that she hosted?
Kind of sad.
Wait.
Yeah. Or, I don't know. Did she host the 2014 Oscars? The one where she's in the selfie with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the same as when she hosted. I think it might be different, but I don't know.
Nonetheless, I just thought that was kind of a sad little tidbit, because that selfie was so fun, but to know that she was being, like, an ass to her bodyguard makes it
yeah,
have, like,
for real.
dark energy behind it. But the bodyguard just says that it was just unsettling witnessing this type of behavior when her on-screen persona is so different.
Oh,
so clearly she hosted the Oscars twice?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, if this is the same night she hosted, I don't know, maybe she was, like, really nervous and wasn't paying attention to her
it's like, you can make those
I don't want to excuse her behavior at all, but, like, I don't know. You also never know what's going on in somebody's life, so.
Right. It's like, God forbid you just, like, caught her at a bad moment. I don't know. I guess it depends. Like, if he's with her for hours on end and she's, like, being an asshole the entire time,
for
then
sure,
maybe that changes the perspective. Once again, everything around here is usually alleged on this podcast.
Absolutely.
So, like, take your own assumptions. But I think that this just indicated to people after everything else started.
Yeah, it's just one thing after another.
That she was just. Yeah, and, like, she's just part of this problem in a larger way. Very shortly after this, there was a leaked letter from Ellen to her employees in July of 2020 about the toxic workplace allegations. The letter stated, "As we've grown exponentially, I've not been able to stay on top of everything and relied on others to do their jobs as they knew I'd want them done. Clearly some didn't. That will now change, and I'm committed to ensuring that this does not happen again. Okay, girl, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But literally one day after this was leaked, another article came out alleging that there was sexual harassment happening in the workplace at the hands of a few of Ellen's executive producers, and a former employee insisted that Ellen knew about it, stating, quote, she knows shit goes on, but also she just doesn't want to hear it, end quote. There were 3 men accused, one of whom even made a statement denying the claims, but by August of 2020, all 3 of them were announced to have parted ways with the show. In September of 2020, a new season of Ellen premiered, and she made a statement just about like all the controversy, like the toxic workplace allegations, the sexual harassment allegations. She made a statement live on the season premiere of the show, and it read, quote, as you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. I'm a multi-layered person, and I try to be the best person I can be, and I try to learn from my mistakes. I'm hearing that some people felt that I wasn't kind or too short with them or too impatient. I apologize to anybody if I've hurt your feelings in any way. So that was live on air.
So now she's going to be held accountable for everything that happens later.
Right.
If she
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
make any
So like
changes, yeah.
if she continues to, I see what you're saying. Yeah. If she continues to act like an asshole, then like, girl.
Then it was you all along, homegirl.
Unfortunately, in November of 2020, there were a significant amount of layoffs, which are just basically explained away by COVID. But there were speculations that it was also partially due to losing brand sponsors because of all the allegations.
I'm sure that was a large part.
Yeah, and like as we were saying, like Ellen herself is not making all of these monetary donations. Like it's usually companies who want advertising for their shows and whatnot. And that's like even how they raise the money to give the donations that they did. So that was like upsetting, and I'm sure just continued to put a bad taste in some people's mouths about her. Moving into 2023, there were some older interviews that started to circulate around the internet showing some of Ellen's more questionable moments and behavior on her show. One of the most notable, in my opinion, was one of Taylor Swift, where they played a game where Ellen was like flashing pictures of celebrity men, and the objective was that Taylor Swift was supposed to ring a bell if she had dated them. And she was clearly uncomfortable and asked multiple times to stop, but Ellen just kept going. And Taylor refused to ring the bell, so Ellen just started doing it for her. And during the show, Taylor even said, she was like, this makes me feel so bad about myself. Every time I come here, you put like a different dude up there on the screen, and it just really makes me question what I stand for as a human being.
Yeah, she did that with everybody. It was so awkward.
I know. And having seen Taylor Swift in interviews and whatnot, like I'm sure that she was like somewhat joking, but also not. Like she's probably just trying to like keep the mood light.
Yeah.
But like it also said that the pictures of these men that Ellen was flashing up on the screen were literally just all pictures of Taylor Swift's exes.
So she has to push the, like, theoretically, yeah, she'd be pushing it the same at every time.
Yes, exactly. So it's just like shady, you know. Also, let's go back to the Ryan Reynolds Scarlett Johansson episode that we did where he literally had like 85 girlfriends. Like, why is no one asking Ryan Reynolds
Literally.
why he was engaged to Alanis Morissette, you know? Weird behavior.
Yeah, tale as old as time. It's never gonna be
Right.
the man.
As recently though as August of 2025, there was a former cameraman that spoke to the Daily Mail about his experience with Ellen pre-scandal. He says that it was evident that Ellen really didn't like her male staff members,
Okay.
which is weird because she basically only had male staff members at
Yeah.
I always felt like, but that she was particularly awful when she felt that any of them were mingling too much with her wife Portia.
Oh my god.
He claims that one year she ran through 9 stage managers in one season. Like, I don't know if Portia eventually started becoming like kind of a making frequent appearances on the show, so like the stage managers were having to deal with her a lot or something. I'm not really sure, but 9 stage managers in one season is crazy.
Yeah.
This cameraman claims that while Portia was always very friendly, the staff would find themselves in trouble if they were caught interacting with her. He also revealed that it was apparently very easy to get blacklisted as a celebrity guest on the show. He named Gordon Ramsay specifically, who was uninvited as a guest, for calling out Ellen for using rancid meat for a cooking demonstration.
Ew.
Gag. But the most disturbing scenario that he outlined was Ellen asking an employee to reschedule some sort of major surgery for their child because it interfered with the week of Christmas, like her Christmas episodes, I guess.
Get over yourself.
Get over yourself. Like, be so for real. Like, as if we as patients have any major control over when our surgery is scheduled. Like, that's
Literally.
so crazy. And ultimately, he says about working on the show, quote, "It was all loyalty to the show, but no loyalty to staff. Some of her former staff alleged that they were even told by their managers not to speak to Ellen if they ever saw her around the workplace." So it's
But,
like, why should
okay.
I be showing up? Why should I be showing up working my ass off for you every single day, but I'm not even allowed to like make eye contact? In terms of guest experiences, many have stated that they also felt that it seemed like a toxic work experience. Former Bachelorette Ali Fedot, I can never say her last name. Ali
Oh, I don't even want to
Fedotowsky.
try. Yeah, there you go.
I think it's Ali Fedotowsky. I think she's married now, so it's probably different. But at the time, she was like the Bachelorette, and she spilled to another former Bachelorette, who you probably do know, Caitlin Bristow,
Yeah.
on her podcast, saying about her experience on the Ellen Show, quote, "It's not that she was mean per se. She just made me feel stupid. I remember that when I was on her show, I was so excited to be on the show, and I don't think she's a bad person. Sometimes I bet when you do a job like that all day, every single day for years, you're just kind of over it, right?" Which is
You can be over it and
fair,
still be
but
kind.
right. That's the thing. It's like you don't have to be like besties with every guest that comes on the show, but like do your job. Like the rest of us are over here doing our jobs.
Yeah,
We'd
literally.
kill for your job, Ellen. Literally. Like watch your back, actually.
Watch your
Anyway.
back. Just wait till they give us a talk show deal.
Like y'all hate to see me coming. Y'all really hate to see me coming.
When cable television has a resurgence. Because it will.
I think it will eventually.
It will.
Everything comes back around. A few other celebrities who have said some not great things about her were Leah Thompson, who was actually the mom in Switched at Birth, the redheaded mom.
Oh, funny.
You know what I'm talking
Okay.
about? Yeah, I was like, I know who that is, but I can't put a face to the name, and I looked her up, and I think that's like the only thing I've seen her. I'm sure she has like much more acclaim to work than that, but I love that.
I think she's the Back to the Future girl.
Yes, she is. She is. Yeah. She said that Ellen's mean behavior was actually common knowledge in Hollywood.
Okay, well tell
So
everybody
maybe-
else then. Like the freak.
So maybe that's why Dakota Johnson was kind of like going at her.
Yeah.
She was like, not anymore. Another actor, Brad Garrett, who was in Everybody Loves Raymond, or also the wrestling coach in The Pacifier.
I love the Pacifier movie. Underrated. Underrated
I feel like I
movie.
always have like the most. I feel like I have the most like underrated references for any time I like mention another celebrity on these shows who isn't the main topic. But that's the only way I can connect it. Like I've never seen Everybody Loves Raymond, but I've seen The Pacifier.
I've seen The Pacifier. Talk about cinema. Oscar winning.
Cinematic masterpiece, 100%.
Yeah.
But he says that he knew more than one person who was treated horribly by
Okay,
her.
Brad, drop first and last. Like, what are we doing at this point?
Right. If you're not gonna drop the names, keep your mouth shut.
Don't tell me. I
because
don't care.
We want the tea. Randomly, an Australian radio host named Neil Breen claimed that he was ordered not to talk to, look at, or approach Ellen while working with her back in 2013.
Okay.
I don't know what they were working on together, but it's
Yeah.
on her either way. And more recently, in August of 2025, a comedian named Adam Carolla says that when he appeared as a guest on the show, it was clear that, quote, on Ellen's show, people were scared, real scared, end quote.
Way to give us
that.
nothing. Like an example for that would be nice.
These celebrities piss me off so bad. Adam also claims that he spoke with a former writer from the show who said that she was, quote, the worst person he'd ever met.
Oh my god.
Not the worst person he'd ever worked with or ever,
Yeah.
you know,
In
whatever.
his
The worst
entire
person he'd
life.
ever met.
And I'm sure a big
Right.
age. I don't know.
Right.
Like he was probably not young.
Clearly he's never been to the DMV before.
Clearly, he's never met a sorority girl.
Clearly, he's never had to go to the front desk at an airport. Nonetheless, yeah, he's never been to sorority standards, that's for sure.
Clearly, he's
Which
never
neither
tried
have
to get into an airport lounge when you're not supposed to be there.
Illegally breaking into an airport lounge. Said that it was clear that everyone was scared of her, which to him solidified that she was just a really mean person. On the flip side of that, though, there were several celebrities that came to her defense. Actually, quite a few, so I'm not going to name all of them, but just to name a couple of them, Kevin Hart was like one of the main ones. He said somehow publicly in August of 2020, quote, "It's crazy to see my friend go through what she's going through publicly. I have known Ellen for years, and I can honestly say that she's one of the dopest people on the fucking planet. She has treated my family and my team with love and respect from day one." All fine and dandy. I do think it should be noted that in 2018, 2019-ish, Kevin Hart was going through his own scandal when some old homophobic tweets resurfaced, and
Yikes. I didn't know that.
Apparently Ellen really had his back. Do I believe that she's always been kind to him? Yes, I do believe that. But also,
like, she could have been kind to him for her own personal gain.
That part, and also, like, do I really think that Kevin Hart needed to speak out on it? Like, great, I'm glad another celebrity, has had a great experience with her, but
thanks, Kevin.
You don't work for her.
No.
So, respectfully, your word means nothing. Katy Perry also came to her defense on Twitter saying, quote, "I have only ever had positive takeaways from my time with Ellen." Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis basically said the same thing. Even Diane Keaton, rest in peace.
Yeah, well, Ashton and Mila have their own issues.
Right, for sure. They definitely do. Even Diane Keaton, rest in peace. Just have to throw that out there. Moment of silence for Diane. She posted a picture of her and Ellen from one of her appearances on the show on Instagram and captioned it basically just saying she's always had positive experiences with her and she gives back to so many people, blah, blah, blah. And of course, her wife, Portia de Rossi, posted a graphic on Instagram that read, it was like a blue screen with white text, and it just read, "I stand by Ellen," and blamed the entire scandal on bots.
That just seems a little out of touch.
I know. Like, sure, were there probably some, like, bot accounts commenting shitty things, maybe, but, like, these claims are coming directly from her employees.
Yeah. Okay, Portia.
Yeah.
Like, Diane Keaton's the only one I'm inclined to believe, because I trust
Perry,
her.
Not trustworthy.
But, like, who would not be nice to Diane Keaton? Like, so, like...
So true. Keaton himself would even
literally
be nice to Diane Keaton if I had to make an assumption. However, her former partner, a woman named Anne Heche, I think is probably how you pronounce it, Heche. Sorry, girl, I don't know who you are. They dated from 1997 to 2000, so like part of the time when she was on her show, Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
And said about the scandal, "I haven't spoken to Ellen in years. I'd listen to the people who have." Which,
damn.
Like, honestly, mic drop. Like, that is... More celebrities need to be making statements like that. Sometimes
literally, like, please don't...
Stop speaking on stuff you don't know about.
Irks me.
Like, yeah. They could take a note from Anne, whoever she may be. So, yeah, there's kind of, like, two sides. If you haven't, grasped this already, I'm sure you have. There was kind of, like, two sides to this scandal. There's, like, the part where her staff was really the issue, but then there's also the part where it like truly is just her personality. So I thought that was like an interesting piece of this, but that I just thought that she was like horrible to everybody on her show. But it turns out that it was just a lot more than that. Yeah, and it's like a lot of people that are working for her, but then also like her hatefulness wasn't even just reserved for her employees. Like she was doing this to other celebrities. So after... I kind of touched on this a little bit, but after the toxic workplace allegations started coming out, Ellen was allegedly having a hard time booking celebrity guests to appear on the show, much like she was having a hard time getting brand sponsors. And a former staff member revealed that this was the first time that they had ever been told that if they had any ideas about people who could appear as guests, that they would actually listen to them. Which I wanted to throw that in there, because what's the point in having a staff if you're not going to let them do their job?
Yeah, or have any input.
Right, exactly. The show lost a ton of sponsors for its 12 Days of Giveaway episode series, which was a 12-episode special where the audience would get special gifts throughout the holiday season. I wanted to go to one of those episodes so bad.
My God, I would have died. Like, if you went on the one where, like, she gave away those trips. Like, I remember, like, sometimes they would give away, like, this, like, dumb, like, an electric toothbrush. And like me in
Or
7th
like
grade, I'm like, I don't
pots
give a
and pans.
fuck about an electric toothbrush. Give me the car.
Right.
I can't even drive, but give me the car.
Give me the car. Or it would be like pots and pans or something.
Yeah, but like some of the stuff was so cool.
And I feel like this is probably not true, but for some reason I want to say that the later in the series that you got, the better the gifts were.
Yeah, well, I think the last day was always like the biggest day, but because they didn't film those days on Christmas, you never knew what day you were walking in on, like what number day until the show started, I don't think.
True, that's a good point. Like they might have even filmed them out of order. That's a really good point. Yeah. So she has also said since that she knows that she's never going to get rid of the allegations, unfortunately, and that after everything started coming out, she felt like everywhere she went, people were just waiting and watching for her to be mean.
Probably.
In the end, this was, in my opinion, the downfall of the Ellen DeGeneres show. The final episode of her talk show aired on May 26, 2022. So almost exactly 2 years after the initial allegations surfaced. She was 63 years old when the Ellen DeGeneres show came to an end, and the last episode was like quite the spectacle. Jennifer Aniston appeared on the last episode of her last season, and she was actually the first guest that Ellen ever had.
Yeah, I knew that. So that's like full
I did not
circle
know
and
that.
fun. Yeah.
I know. She was like crying and whatever. Jennifer Aniston was. I love Jennifer Aniston, but like, girl, we don't need to cry. It's okay.
Also, you can like see Ellen as much as you want.
Right. Exactly. And I'm sure she was probably like sad for her friend that like all this had happened, but ultimately like
Yeah,
Ellen was gonna
that's
be
fair.
fine. Yeah. Along with Jennifer Aniston, Pink and Billie Eilish were musical guests, and some of the other guests in the final episode were Mila Kunis, Justin Timberlake, Keith Urban, Zac Efron, and brace yourself, Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Oh God, I can't.
What a legacy. The last episode of your talk show that ran
Ellen,
for
Ellen. And everybody in
literally.
Hollywood like allegedly knew. Just like
Right.
with her.
And that now that makes me wonder if she had any sort of idea what was going on. Not saying that she participated, but like shit gets around. Hollywood's a small town.
Yeah.
What a legacy to have. The last episode of your talk show that ran for almost 20 years and Diddy is on the final episode. Like that would
That's
no.
embarrassing.
Nonetheless, that would have me crashing out if I were Ellen. Not that it's her fault, but just saying. Ellen said about ending the show, she said, quote, "When you're a creative person, you constantly need to be challenged. And as great as this show is and as fun as it is, it's just not a challenge anymore." She also did do an interview with Savannah Guthrie post scandal where she is asked, quote, "Did you feel like you were being canceled?" And Ellen responded, quote, "I really didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. It was too orchestrated. It was too coordinated." End quote.
Maybe somebody got paid to do it? That's kind of what she's insinuating.
Like, I think she thinks that, well, okay, we'll hold on that because I have something else to say about it. But basically, she even said at one point shortly before the scandal that she had actually told people that she was ready to be done with the show. This was probably likely sometime in 2019. But I do just think it's like a little bit convenient that like she goes through all this backlash, and then like obviously the show ends. Nobody was expecting it to continue on after that. I mean, maybe she did really want to quit. It had been going on for a long time, but it's just kind of funny in my opinion.
Yeah.
She told the Hollywood Reporter at one point, quote, "My whole being is about making people happy, and with the talk show, all I cared about was spreading kindness and compassion. And everything I stand for was being attacked, so it destroyed me, honestly. I'd be lying if I said it didn't." And she has said, this kind of ties back to the Savannah Guthrie interview, she has said a couple years out from the scandal that she believes that her canceling was a misogynistic attack. But some of her former employees said about claims like this that she just continues to invalidate and deny their experiences, which I do agree. Like, clearly there was truth to this, whether it's as bad as the media made it seem. There clearly was still truth. Like, obviously your employees were still doing shitty things and you clearly weren't being a very nice person. So, but like, it's, to me, it feels like she and her wife are fully convinced that this was like, basically like, I don't even know another way to describe it other than like an industry plant, but instead of a person, it's a scandal.
It's a cancel or yeah.
Yeah, like kind of how they were saying that Kim staged the Paris robbery.
Crazy.
As for what she's continued to say about the whole thing, in April of 2024, 2 years after her show was canceled, Ellen decided to do a comedy tour called Ellen's Last Stand Up. During one of her shows, she referenced the allegations against her, stating, "Let me catch you up on what's been going on with me since you last saw me. I got chickens. Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business for being mean. I can be demanding and impatient and tough. I am a strong woman. I am many things, but I am not mean."
I mean, that's fair. If she was like a man in that position, she probably never would have been called mean.
Right, you're probably right. After one of her shows on the tour, she did a Q&A where she said about her show ending, quote, "I just thought, well, this is not the way I wanted to end my career, but this is the way it's ending. I just hated the way that the show ended. I loved that show so much, and I just hated the last time people would see me is that way."
That's sad.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure she has a lot of regrets.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's,
sure she would love to go back and redo like how she. I would hope she wants to go back and redo how she treated people.
yeah, like hindsight's 2020, of course. And then in September of 2024, she released a Netflix special called Ellen DeGeneres For Your Approval. And she made it very obvious that this was the last time that she would be involved in show business in any way.
What does she do now? I don't know if I've seen her in a while.
That's a great question, because also in 2024, Ellen started a skincare brand called
Oh my god.
Kind Science.
Oh my god. Ellen. Ellen, why?
Like it's one thing for Ellen to start a skincare brand. It's another thing for her to call it Kind Science.
That's crazy behavior.
Basically, crazy behavior. Basically, it was skincare for people with mature skin, like for older women, which is probably an untapped industry, but I'm not sure that Ellen needed to be the one to do it, if I'm being honest. Along with that, her Netflix special that I just mentioned, Ellen DeGeneres For Your Approval, kind of flopped. It earned a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is bad, right? I don't really know how Rotten Tomatoes works.
It's like out of 100.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And to answer your question, she and her wife, Portia, now live on a farm in the English countryside. They were
Dang, she doesn't live in the U.S.?
No, she doesn't. And her wife
She
is
got bullied on out of
Australian,
here.
so I'm not really sure why they chose the UK, but nonetheless, they originally started out living in the Cotswolds, but that house, it was an $18 million house, and it ended up getting flooded. I'm not sure how. I mean, I guess it rains a lot there, so I guess that's how. But
I don't know.
Since then they have moved to Oxfordshire. I don't know how to say it. Since she and her wife live in the UK, there were reports that she had agreed to work on a British game show at one point, but did end up backing out before they started filming. She and Portia have been married since 2008, and she says about her wife during the scandal, quote, "I couldn't have gone through everything I went through without her. It was a horrible time in my life, and she was a rock. She kept me going and tried to help me put things into perspective." Portia said about Ellen, quote, "She is the kindest, most generous, most loving, loyal, trustworthy person I've ever known. She's a very special human being. Some of it sometimes rubs off on me." And apparently in her Netflix special, which I have not watched, she has mentioned writing a memoir. So I would not be surprised if the next time we hear from Ellen DeGeneres, it is via a book.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna get a book. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm. And with that wraps up Ellen DeGeneres, the workplace scandal.
It's kind of crazy because like I don't think I realized how much almost wasn't her. I mean, it was her in a way. This is your brand. It's literally your first and last name on this brand. These are the people that you have hired, you approved to hire in some way, even if you didn't directly hire them. These are your employees, and they should have been acting with kindness, especially if that's what you preach. So like overarching, yes, it's her fault, but it's just sad that like it was these other people doing these horrible things where she could have fixed it, but like it wasn't directly her.
Right. Like she should have been vetting her employees, and even if they maybe weren't the kindest people to work with, they should have at least been professional, and they obviously weren't.
Absolutely.
So there's
like
that
somewhere
too.
Something was like no accountability was held for any party.
Right. But I do agree with you in that a lot of it was not her behavior directly, and to me it kind of feels like, you know, like I mean obviously we're not celebrities, we don't know the dynamics between celebrities, if you can believe it. She like to me it feels like everybody has that coworker that they don't like. And to me it feels like Ellen was the coworker in Hollywood that people were like, everyone thinks she's really nice, but actually she's an asshole. Like everybody has that person in their life, you know? And to me it feels like that was Ellen for all these other celebrities. And so when all this stuff started coming out about her employees being mistreated, it then just became this opportunity for everyone else to be like, oh, well, now that I know that I'm not crazy for this experience that I had, like, I'm gonna tell my story type of thing when it comes to like other celebrities speaking on. I'm not speaking on her employees. Obviously, they deserve for their concerns to be heard, but in terms of the other famous people in the room with us, I just think it's like interesting how it feels like a little bit like they jumped on a bandwagon, which sucks for Ellen because I also can guarantee you that she's not the only person in Hollywood who acts this way. But maybe those people aren't making their personal slogan be kind to one another.
Yeah.
You know?
Very true.
So, but yeah, that was a fun one. I enjoyed writing this because I knew details, but I wasn't sure of the specifics.
I love a good scandal. It's also like a close to home scandal because I grew up with her, so it was sad the way it ended. Like seeing, like you know, like never meet your heroes, you know, that kind of thing.
Yes, I actually think that I maybe saw a quote where somebody said that, like, don't meet your heroes because you're gonna be disappointed.
You're gonna be disappointed.
I think it was Caitlin Bristow actually. She said, and when Ali Fedotowsky was telling her the experience that she had, Caitlin was like, yeah, when I was the Bachelorette, I never went on her show, and I'm glad I didn't because I think I would have been seriously upset. She was like my favorite celebrity at the time.
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid thought.
Yeah, for sure. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. And of course, join us on Tuesday for Reality Digest. And then next Thursday, our Fame Files episode is going to be on the events that took place at Woodstock 99, which is just a really bizarre scenario. So tune in to learn more about it.
Tune in.
And I think that's all we have for you. Be kind to one another.
Yeah, for real though. Follow the golden rule.
Walk the walk. All right, toodles.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week for more pop culture chaos. The stories we cover are based on research and publicly available sources. While we strive for accuracy, some details may be disputed or unverified, and this episode is for entertainment and informational purposes only.